Welcome to Arizona Business Spotlight. I'm Helen Gibson, your host, and you're watching Verde Valley TV. This is like my favorite time of the day, anytime Arizona Business Spotlight's on, because you're going to learn great techniques for growing your business, how to do a media assessment, social media, traditional media, how do you connect with your clients and customers in the marketplace. Well, we have professional business experts here today that are going to help us with that. So don't go anywhere. Get that pen and paper ready. You know how I feel about this. Go get it now. We'll be back with more Arizona Business Spotlight in just a moment. But first, a quick message from our most beloved sponsor, Orkin, pest control down to a science.
Orkin has pest control down to a science.
When your business chooses Orkin's Precision Protection Program, you get a tailored pest control program for your specific industry and environment.
Your business can benefit from over a century of experience, training, and scientific knowledge that define the Orkin man.
Maximum protection, minimum exposure, backed by one of the industry's most comprehensive guarantees.
Choose your locally owned and operated Northern Arizona Orkin and get more than an exterminator. Get an expert.
Back on Arizona Business Spotlight, joining me in studio right now, Angie Lozano, Executive Director of Angie's House. Angie, you know, going into the break, I was thinking about the pen and paper. And you know, inevitably somebody can't find a paper or pen and they're watching the show right now. They can always go to YouTube.
That's true. That's true. Very true. So you just play it, and you can rewind.
You can rewind.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like you said, there's so much information that we really need to, you know, be aware of what's going on in our community. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So having you on today is a great encouragement, I think, to women out there that want to be involved in the community and running a business. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about Angie's House. You're the executive director. How did that whole idea come about?
Perfect question. Back in 2000, just like what you're saying, women getting involved in their community, what they can do. Back in 2000, I noticed that there was a need for housing. And the need for housing was not being currently met, which, you know, it basically is the community member's kind of obligation. Well, you know, there is an issue, let's go ahead and try to resolve it. So what I did is I put together a housing that was affordable. So it was like it was combined rent with utilities, made it affordable, easy for someone to basically put a roof over their head. So we did that for a little bit. And then I realized that even individuals who had homes were still having some hard time making ends meet. But they had jobs, started to figure out, okay, some addiction issues were also behind it. As well as I have family members, and both grandparents on my mom and my dad's side had struggled with alcohol addiction. So I know good people struggle with issues, and it does impact their lives. Mm-hmm. So we opened up recovery homes. We opened up 2 for men, 2 for women. And then I also realized that there was individuals coming to me who just needed a safe place to live and had pets. So I decided, well, let's do another home that we can provide affordable housing, safe, where they can bring their pets as well.
You know, what I'm hearing as you're laying out this whole platform release, so to speak, of all these homes, is there was a need in the marketplace and you filled it. Mm-hmm. So whether somebody has a shoe store or restaurant or sees a need somehow with the business they want to develop, I think that's the whole point, is just seeing a need and then filling it.
And it was because I've lived here all my life, was born and raised here. I love this community and I want to help. And it's amazing because when we invest in our community, we invest in the people who live here, the community grows and flourishes. So like you said, a person who has, let's say, a shoe store, mm-hmm. you know, kind of look at see what's out there, what's needed. You know, look at your customers, listen to what the customers are needing, and make the adjustments. Yes, we still have to run a business because things have to, you know, get paid, but there's ways of doing it and also helping the community.
You said an important thing there. It's about assessment. Here at Yavapai Broadcasting and Verde Valley TV, we do a thing called a media assessment, mm-hmm. where you're spending your dollars, who do you want to reach, mm-hmm. but it's really about listening to the customer and what their challenges are, and then bringing that solution.
Right.
So when you're, you make it sound so easy. You know, we're just going to get some houses and we're just going to help people.
Yeah.
I hear people talk about the homeless situation. Mm-hmm. or like you said, just being really academic about it. It could be addiction issues, there could be mental illness issues, there could be, it's systemic. It's not, somebody does not want to be homeless. It could be some other issue going on that
Underlying.
has underlying, and getting to that.
Right, and it's all different. For instance, because we also have a homeless shelter. Some individuals like to be, that's a free lifestyle they enjoy, and maybe during the hot or the cold months, they really just need a place to sleep for a night and a nice shower and some warm food to eat. Some actually have been pushed out of an affordable housing situation. They lost their affordable housing. They do have income. They have a pet. They're elderly. Where do you go? A lot of the housing, subsidized housing, is 2-year waiting list. So they would initially possibly come into the homeless shelter for a few nights, and then I transition them into my affordable housing. So it just depends. Everyone is different, and that's what I pride myself in doing. I'm a phone call away. We talk. We do the interview on the phone. There's no long email to fill out or application process, and then an interview process. It's done the same day.
And your homes now, just great reviews, and the model works.
Yes.
Is there something that we can do as a community or particular business owners to get behind you more, whether it's volunteerism, donations, financial support? What can we do?
Well, we are an Arizona Tax Credit Association, organization, I should say, and so we do accept tax dollars, and it's a dollar for dollar credit for Arizona state taxes, which is wonderful. Since we do have a homeless shelter, any of the restaurants, current restaurants that do have, or caterers who have leftover food that maybe they just can't fill for an event, wonderful. And we do have a lot of people in the community, a couple of restaurants like the Riot or even Girona, who will have, and the Red Rooster, who will do things for our homeless shelter and bring the food in. So anyone, like restaurants, or even someone who has a large meal that maybe just has a little bit of leftovers and doesn't really want to throw it away, give me a call and they can drop it off at the homeless shelter.
You're a busy woman.
Yes. Yes, I am.
That takes it to work ethic, you know, for people that, this is Arizona Business Spotlight. So one of the reasons I'm so excited that you were able to carve out some time to come down to the studios to be interviewed is your work ethic, Angie, is to be applauded and emulated. You are a mentor.
Well, thank you. I did start working when I was 13, and that was before they did all, you know, the ID and all that other stuff. So went out there working, and honestly, it actually created the model for a lot of my programs, because I always knew no matter what came up in my life, if I had a job, I could provide a roof over my head. No matter what I was going through, what struggle, as long as I had that roof over my head and income coming in to take care of myself, I'd be fine. So really the work ethic, and that is all, a lot of my programs, that's the basis. You know, as well as being, you know, clean and sober for the recovery programs, but you have to be able to support yourself and be self-sufficient.
And it feels so good when you can do that, when you're sustainable.
Yes.
You're giving people confidence, you're giving them their dignity back and their, you know, integrity, and giving them that second chance at life. And I just see this growing bigger. We just got to get connected, and that's important too, isn't it?
Yes.
About who you collaborate with.
Who you collaborate with. And the wonderful thing about our community is everyone is willing to help. But I do encourage it. If you have someone that you want help from, ask. If you know someone that needs help, ask them, how can we help you? Because really sometimes individuals do need help, but they maybe are worried and kind of don't feel so good about asking for help. So if you see someone who is struggling, ask them. I do know that sometimes there's individuals staying at some high-priced hotels. So initially my mind was, okay, well, they can afford the high-priced hotel. They're probably just vacationing. Sometimes they're not. They're in between homes. They're trying to find housing. They are literally blowing through their savings. So when you see someone, ask and get to know them. Take the 2 or 3 minutes to just sit there and talk with them, because sometimes what it appears is not.
Right.
And give you a perfect example. 5 years ago, I met a lady dressed to the nines. She had called and said she needed to check into to one of my homes. So I said, okay. Well, I met her at a coffee shop. She got out of her car, nice car, got out, dressed to the nines, came in. And I thought, well, I thought I was meeting with the resident, not the case manager. So she introduces herself. Sure enough, it's the resident. Well, lo and behold, she's been living in her car for 5 weeks. Her car is in repossession status, but she lives 3 states over. So that's why it hasn't been repossessed. And she gets up every morning, gets ready in the bathroom, and says, Angie, that's the one thing I can do for myself is get ready and look nice.
Yes.
So just the impression, get to know what's going on.
Yes, and not judge. You know,
Yes.
I sit here and that could be any one of
Anyone.
us. Anybody. It could be your relative. It could be you. And sometimes we make wrong choices in life, and we're human.
Yes. Yes.
Don't forget that human connection. And just because you're doing well in life, don't forget to stop and look around you.
Right. Because
like
it can
you're
happen
saying.
very quickly. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and then all of a sudden, you're right. You're living out of your car, and you're trying to find a way. And then, so as a society, we tend to judge, and people with addictions as well. You don't know their life journey.
No, and it's a struggle because no one wants to live in a life of addiction. It's a struggle.
No.
And that's what we do with our homes. We make it easy access. It's literally a phone call. They come in.
I love you.
And it's easy, affordable access, because that's the thing. When you call and you need help today, you don't want to wait 3 weeks to get a decision back. You need to get in today, because today's the day.
Wow.
So.
You know, Angie, there's so many things about what you're doing that people watching right now with Arizona Business Spotlight can glean from. But one of the number one takeaways that I always tell people is, what's your sizzle? Your passion. Your passion is people.
People.
And that's why you're successful.
And they have so much potential. They do. Just given the safe environment and care and acceptance, they can succeed and do whatever they want.
I always tell people that, and education is the next key. You know, getting educated. There's information out there. There's groups, and you're connected. And I'm sure even if you weren't able to help somebody, you would know who could help them.
Yes. In fact, that's why I do get a lot of phone calls every day, probably about 76 per day or more. And if I can't help them, I usually can connect them with someone who can, and that's what's great about collaborating.
Yes.
And talking to different other organizations that I know that could fit their needs better, or could, in conjunction with mine, help them.
Well, and speaking of other organizations, you're the secretary for Professional Women's Group here in Cottonwood. I know there's like 80, 100 business women that get together and meet, and this is a great place for women to connect if they're a business owner or thinking about owning a business.
Yes.
Yes. And
I love it. The women you meet there are supportive. We help each other. We connect with each other. Okay, so you're in real estate. Then when you talk to the next couple of people, to say randomly in the next week, and someone's looking for a realtor, you know 2 or 3 realtors that you collaborate with through PWG. If there's a media consultant that someone is asking for. So that's what I love, is we collaborate with each other and support each other, but also it's like a sisterhood of trying to help each other. If there's something going on in the business, we can offer suggestions. Our quarterly luncheons always has a nice speaker. You can always learn something for a $15 lunch, because $10 is for the lunch, $5 is for a scholarship. You can sit there amongst other women for an hour and a half, learn something, collaborate, get a lot of business cards that you can literally refer back to when you need something, and they return your calls. It's awesome.
it's amazing. Time's up. Yeah. I got to have you back on. I hear people out there saying, why don't I have business cards? Listen, piece of paper, write your name and your phone number and cut little squares. Nobody's judging. Just come and let's connect.
Just some way of connecting with you.
Oh, I can't wait to hear the stories that come out of the different women that come to the group. All right, Angie Lozano with Angie's House was joining us today on Arizona Business Spotlight. Don't go anywhere. We have more, as always, in just a moment.